There are plenty of rosters that we as fans would love to be general managers for.
They should consider trading Alvin Kamara.
We're going to take a look about the 10 NFL stars that we'd trade right now if we were general managers. Dak Prescott. If Prescott were to somehow decide to waive the no-trade clause in his contract, we'd love to trade him to a team that has a roster with a better chance of making it to an AFC or NFC championship game. Teams we would trade Prescott to include the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Minnesota Vikings, as both those teams have the offensive weapons ready for Prescott to work with. The Steelers would definitely benefit from Prescott, as Aaron Rodgers is retiring after the 2026 season, and the quarterbacks on the roster are, well, not exactly ideal for long-term success. Prescott would boost the Steelers' offense and form an incredible on-field chemistry with DK Metcalf and Michael Pittman Jr. Oh, and not to mention, he would reunite with head coach Mike McCarthy, who coached Prescott for 5 years. However, the Vikings would be more ideal for Prescott, as the team currently has a quarterback dilemma with J.J. McCarthy struggling and Kyler Murray on a short-term deal. Prescott would be given the best wide receivers to throw to in his career, with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison in that offensive lineup. It would upset Cowboys fans to see Prescott go, but it would be incredible fireworks to see Prescott join a team like the Steelers or Vikings and lead them to a Super Bowl. Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa recently signed a short-term minimum 1-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons to back up and compete for the starting job against Michael Penix Jr. Similar to Penix Jr., Tagovailoa has dealt with his fair share of injuries throughout his career. The Falcons have a great roster of weapons for Tagovailoa to work with if he's healthy, including Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, should he earn the starting job. However, if we were the general manager for the Falcons, we would trade Tagovailoa to teams like the Arizona Cardinals, Minnesota Vikings, or Los Angeles Rams for draft compensation to further build around Penix Jr. Tagovailoa on a team like the Cardinals would look like a team looking to rebuild around him and provide him with the protection that he needs in an incredibly competitive NFC West. Tagovailoa on a team like the Vikings sounds more interesting, as Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback guru who got the best out of Kirk Cousins and revived Sam Darnold's career. If we could trade Tagovailoa to the Rams, he would be a great insurance option for Matthew Stafford, just in case he got hurt. And he could be groomed to be a successor for long-term success under Sean McVay. These scenarios would be very enticing for Tagovailoa if we could trade him to an NFL team that has the pieces in place for him to succeed. George Pickens. Going back to the Cowboys, Pickens had a very productive 2025 season with them, as he caught 93 receptions for 1,429 yards and scored 9 touchdowns, outperforming CeeDee Lamb. However, Pickens was franchise tagged for the 2026 season, while Lamb is under contract until the 2028 season. If we were the Cowboys GM, instead of Jerry Jones, well, we would trade Pickens to either the Baltimore Ravens, the Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, or the San Francisco 49ers. Pickens on the Ravens would be lights out, as he would join a passing attack that already has Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews in the lineup. And it would give Jackson a true number 1 wideout to work with. Not to mention, it would keep the Ravens Super Bowl window further open with an elite passing unit. Pickens on the Rams would also be like adding a cheat code to an already overpowered video game character, as he would likely be joining an impressive championship caliber offense led by Matthew Stafford. Pickens getting traded to the Seahawks would be very interesting, as he would be a thorn against opposing NFC West teams vying for control for the division, and potentially help the Seahawks repeat as Super Bowl champions. Pickens on the 49ers would give Brock Purdy a true game-changing receiver to work with and make the Niners passing attack more threatening. All these trade scenarios are exciting to imagine, but we highly doubt it could happen during this season. Alvin Kamara. Although Kamara wants to finish his NFL career with the Saints, the team is still in rebuilding mode and recently signed Travis Etienne Jr. to a 4-year, $52 million deal during the offseason. Having Kamara and Etienne Jr. in the Saints' rushing attack could be the final piece the team needs to become more competitive during the 2026 regular season. However, if we were the Saints' general manager, we would explore trade options that could get Kamara to a championship caliber team. Maybe teams like the Denver Broncos, Jacksonville Jaguars, or Green Bay Packers who would benefit from Kamara's production. The Packers trading for Kamara would be a game changer for the team, as he would dominate on the ground and in the passing attack. The Jaguars would gain a veteran Pro Bowl dual threat running back who would further elevate Trevor Lawrence's game and fit into Liam Cohen's schemes. The Broncos would strongly benefit from Kamara, as he would provide Bo Nix with a dual threat rusher who can also catch passes in one of the league's best offenses, coached by Sean Payton. One of these trades would make the NFL world go nuts, as Kamara provides either the 3 teams mentioned a minute ago a major boost on offense. Denzel Ward. Ward is one of the league's most talented cornerbacks patrolling the Browns secondary, even though the team has seen a massive decline from awful quarterback play, lack of offensive explosiveness, and crippling injuries. If we were general manager Andrew Berry, we would trade Ward to a title contender, similarly to how he traded Myles Garrett to the Rams. Teams who would benefit from getting Ward include the Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and Dallas Cowboys. If Ward got traded to the Bears, well, he would fit right into their secondary and make it more explosive against competition in the NFC North. The Packers have the necessary draft capital to make a trade for Ward, and he would fit into their secondary and create a threatening championship caliber roster ready to make some noise. The Cowboys love having elite cornerbacks and safeties on their roster, and Ward would make the Cowboys secondary shine against the NFC East's best wide receivers. These trades would cause Browns fans to pull their hair out, but man, it would be incredible to see Ward play for a championship caliber roster. Cole Kmet. Kmet may have had a down year for the Bears in 2025 statistically during the regular season, but he still displayed some great heroics during the playoffs, catching a game-tying touchdown against the Los Angeles Rams in the divisional round. With the Bears drafting Sam Roush, we would potentially trade Kmet if we were the team's general manager. Teams that Kmet could be traded to include the Kansas City Chiefs, Miami Dolphins, and Carolina Panthers. The Chiefs would immediately integrate Kmet into their offense and pair him up with Travis Kelce for Patrick Mahomes or Justin Fields to pass to. The Panthers need a new tight end for their roster, and well, he'd make some serious noise with Bryce Young, and he'd help that team potentially repeat as NFC South champs. The Dolphins would really benefit from Kmet, as he would bring short-term success to the team's rebuilding offense, at least for the season. Out of these options, the Panthers would probably be the best fit for Kmet, as they currently have the capital to trade for him, and we, as the GM, would love to make it happen. James Conner. Conner is a talented veteran running back who made 2 Pro Bowls so far in his career, but he's going to have some competition with the arrival of Jeremiah Love from the 2026 NFL Draft. If we were Cardinals GM Monty Ossenfort, well, we would trade Conner and focus the team's attention on developing Love. Teams that could trade for Conner's services include the New York Giants, Indianapolis Colts, and Green Bay Packers. The Giants need an upgrade in the backfield, as Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy Jr. are good running backs, but, well, they aren't Pro Bowl caliber like Conner is. The Colts could utilize Conner similarly to how they use Zach Moss as a tough shoulder runner for the team's rushing attack and be a solid backup for Jonathan Taylor. The Packers would be able to get Conner adjusted to their offense very quickly, and it would provide crucial depth and veteran presence at the position and put him on a playoff contender. It would also be incredible to see Conner join a title contender and have the chance to earn a Super Bowl ring. Josh Sweat. Staying on the Cardinals, a star player that we would trade for draft capital includes Josh Sweat. The man had 12 sacks in the desert, but had 30 tackles, which was down from his 2024 season when he had 41. If we were in Ossenfort's position, we would trade Sweat to a team like the Green Bay Packers or Kansas City Chiefs for some draft compensation and just focus on rebuilding the team. If Sweat were to get traded to the Packers, it would reunite him with defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, who was the Cardinals head coach in 2025 and was the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator from 2021 to 2022. If Sweat were to get traded to the Chiefs, it would put him on a championship defense led by Chris Jones and make the unit that much more formidable, and possibly put him in a position to contend for a Super Bowl again. Kayvon Thibodeaux. Thibodeaux may not be a Pro Bowl caliber edge rusher, but he provides a strong veteran presence for the defensive line. However, Thibodeaux hasn't had a double-digit sack season since 2023, and he was overshadowed by Dexter Lawrence before he was traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. If we were Giants general manager Joe Schoen, we would potentially trade Thibodeaux to either the New England Patriots or Kansas City Chiefs. If the Giants trade Thibodeaux to the Patriots, well, he would join a solid defense that's coming off a Super Bowl run despite losing to the Seattle Seahawks, and he could help them get back to the big dance. Not to mention, Shane Bowen was the Giants defensive coordinator from 2024 to 2025, and he's now the Patriots defensive analyst. Trading Thibodeaux to the Chiefs would be an ideal trade, as he would join a defense coached by defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, who coaches a great unit with Chris Jones in charge on the field. It would be a painful move to trade away Thibodeaux, but the amount of draft picks the G-men would get would make the potential trade more than worth it. Maxx Crosby. Although the Crosby-Baltimore Ravens deal fell flat, Crosby is still a Raider, but he could get traded to another team during the regular season. Crosby played through a torn meniscus in his left knee, and he had 73 tackles, 10 sacks, and an interception returned for 19 yards. If we were John Spytek, we would trade him to the Chicago Bears, New England Patriots, or San Francisco 49ers. Crosby on the Bears would increase the talent of their defense, and he would be paired with Montez Sweat and Grady Jarrett. The Patriots defensive unit could definitely benefit from Crosby's presence. As a defensive defensive coordinator Zach Kerr would have an incredible time coaching Crosby. The 49ers would benefit from Crosby as he would step in for injured defensive guys on the roster and provide veteran support when other guys go down with injuries. But what NFL star would you trade if you were an NFL GM? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.